Good morning, everybody. Jaden Bax with Avenue Financial out here in beautiful Crossfield, Alberta. Joined as always by my cousin, partner, guru of mortgage advice, Mike Parkinson with Dominion Lending Centers out in Campbell River, British Columbia. How you doing this week, Mike?
Doing really well, Jaden. It's more like a fall day out here finally. We've had so many fires and stuff out in BC, and it's been so hot. Same thing with you guys, right? The heat. So it's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's enjoying a few cooler days here, and then it's supposed to ramp up again and get hot for the weekend. So
well, that's good. You want to enjoy August too, right? We had the same thing. We had some rain last night. We missed you all last week. I'm a father of a son for the third time in a row, so I've been busy doing
yeah,
that. Yes, very,
congratulations,
very happy.
congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm quickly realizing that I need to up my game in terms of producing income because I'm going to have three boys that are eating all the time. So
Uh,
my
Way
my
too
grocery
soon,
bill
way
is
too
already going
soon,
up.
bud.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have big problems. So anyway, no, life is good for both of us. Things are going well, but we do want to talk about what's going on in the media, what's going on, about interest rates, and I'm pretty sure everybody who follows us or watches us on a regular basis knows what's going on with the CPI. So last week, was it last week or the week before? Bank of Canada, Stats Canada released CPI. We're at 3.5% inflation. Had been down to, what was it, 2.8%?
2.8.
Yeah, 2.8% the month before. A couple of things to dig into this. People are panicking, thinking, okay, now the Bank of Canada is going to ramp rates up again in September. But there's a couple of things that kind of go against that a little bit, and one of them is the fact that they knew it was going to happen because of the base effects of last year. But the other thing is something that people aren't talking about very much, and maybe something you can dig into a little bit here, Mike.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about a couple things on my agenda here. I got a big list here because I want to make sure we get through this because there's so much BS out there. There's so much manipulation, and really, are these numbers, Jay? Are the numbers exact? Are there going to be huge revisions? I bet there will be. Nobody knows, but let's talk about a few things here. And if I don't touch on exactly what you want, just jump in at any time. But
I will.
we just spoke about core inflation, about the uh, how they so core inflation is really interesting, right? There's a difference between regular inflation, core inflation, based on how the Feds, the Bank of Canada, see things. That's probably their most important guideline on where they're going to head with rates. But let's talk about mortgage interest payments and how much they've gone up, Jay. How much have they gone up in this last 15 months?
Yeah, it was somewhere between 35 and 38%.
Crazy, crazy.
It's a crazy amount. It's a huge amount. And so, but the interesting thing about that, when you talk about core inflation, people say, well, who cares about interest rates? Because it only accounts for about, I think it's 3.8% or 3.6% of the bundle of core inflation.
Right.
3.6% of that is mortgage interest rates. So it's really, it's nothing, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, well, it's a little more than that there, bud. It's you know what? If you factor in, and they factor in mortgage interest payments for their calculation, and if you factor that in, and actually, if you take that out of the equation, they say that we're pretty much at the 2%, or basically, we talked about a little bit about it, probably 2.4% inflation
Yep.
rate. They're basically there if they took that out of their core inflation guidelines. So it's really crazy. It's like we just talked about. It's so frustrating because the government's created this mess, and it's like we're getting hammered because the governments are fighting each other. Like so, the Fed is basically fighting the government because the Fed's trying to tighten and the government keeps spending. Same thing, Bank of Canada, right? Like it's like the central bankers are fighting the government because the government just keeps spending, and it's the government spending that's keeping all this stuff going. Like strong economy, this and that. If you look in the U.S., Jay, all the billions and billions. I think they gave back 30 billion last month in rebate tax rebates to the rich. That's why, like, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy what's going on behind the scenes. But that's one thing. So I think they've overshot. I think they've way overshot in rates. And if they move them up a little bit more, it's going to be even way worse.
Well, and the problem is, Mike, that they've gone to So we talk about that. So there's basically, if you look at the way that 36, 38% increase in rates has affected core inflation, it's basically bringing it up by around 1.1%. So it's taking it from that 3.5 down to that 2.4. The problem now is you can't just reverse that. They can't just cut 4.5%
Totally.
from prime today and just say, okay, rates are, people have already locked in for 5 years at those higher rates. They've locked in for 3-year terms at higher rates. That effect is going forward with things. So they've created this monster and trying to fight the monster, but there's no way to slay right away, right? Like this is going to be something that most economists think is going to linger. The effects of this well through 2024, well through 2025. It appears to me, and I know it appears to you too, we have way overstepped in the fight to fight inflation.
Yeah, we have, and like it's really hard to, again, our opinions, like an opinion of many experts that feel the same way, and it's like people keep talking about these rates are going to continue to move up, going to stay there for way longer. Well, my God, are you looking at seeing what's going on in this world right now? Let's look at the banking crisis, like Charles Schwab in the U.S. is having issues, like huge banks, things like that. Look at China,
Oh my
like
God.
global thing. Like China's in their debt to GDP is 297%. Like my God, like, and they're slowing down drastically. They're one of the biggest exports. They're like the engine of the world basically. And when they slow down, it's going to affect everything. And they're slowing way down, so they got some
Well, they,
serious issues there. Yeah.
Well, they've hit deflation. Like China has actually hit deflation.
Yeah.
The third of the three huge constructors in China is on the verge of bankruptcy now. It is not paying off the money it owes for its bonds and things like that. China's hit deflation. That's an economy that I think has had like something absurd, like a 10% growth rate over the last 30 years
Right.
consecutively, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So for a place like that to hit deflation, what happens to iron prices coming from Brazil and oil going from Canada to China, all of those kinds of things, huge impacts. I think the message that we're trying to say today is that especially when it comes to the September rate
Right.
announcement,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that if you just look at it at what's being shown to you and what's being said, absolutely they're going to raise rates.
Yeah.
That just they went from 2.8 to 3.5, expected to go to 3.3, so they overshot a little bit. Absolutely they're going to raise rates. It makes a whole ton of sense. There's a ton of things going on in the background that say do not raise rates. You should not raise rates. You should not have raised rates as much as as much as they have risen up to this point.
Yeah.
So you really need to look at all of those kinds of things. Again, what will Macklem do? I have no idea because
Well, you know what?
I didn't.
They say there's 25% possibility today without getting the unemployment numbers, which are coming out. When are they coming out here? Pretty soon here, I think, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
Maybe next week. I can't remember. Uh, of raising rates. When if those numbers come in, strong, then there's a higher chance that could change, right? But yeah, I agree with you 100%. If you unpeel the onion, it's rotten. It's getting rotten on the inside, and we're pretty passionate about this because it's very frustrating as brokers right now to see what's happening out there. And I mean, when you go from in 16 months raising rates this much into a world that has so much debt. I think they were saying in the US that if this continued into all through next year, it's going to be 1.2 trillion just to service their debt. I mean that, like, come on, like seriously, like I just don't buy this. I think there's going to be some definitely short-term pain here. I think they're going to keep rates as high as they can for as long as they can because that's their tool when it needs to come down. They say that next year rates are going to start to cut, and I believe that. I just don't know when. So this was just our opinion. It doesn't make sense if you actually just sit back and throw reality in there and do some math. It's like what's happening in this world right now doesn't make sense. It's all due to manipulation. There's still huge government spending behind the scenes that are keeping things propped up. They say the economy's strong. I'm not buying it. The world
Yeah.
economy is not. We just discussed a few of those things. Things are slowing down drastically. The leading indicators moving forward are not great. So honestly, I guess just using your brain a little bit to try to calm down, and try to come up with a plan. Right now, there's nowhere to hide. Rates are highest they've been in 25 years.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like there is nowhere to hide. Everywhere I turn, it's like rate hike, rate hike, rate. It's like they're cranking rates up faster than you can. Right now, fixed rates are ridiculous. Like I mean, like where do you go to hide? I guess right. And it's just coming
Well,
up.
and that was it. A couple of months ago, we had that 3 year fix at 4.84. That was very attractive to a lot of people. We were looking at 2 and 1 year fix in the low fives, and people looked at that. Well, now we're over 6% for our 2 and 1 year fix. Where our 3 year fix is in the very high fives, 5 year fix in the mid fives. 2 months ago, we kind of thought that the bond market was stabilizing a little bit and returning more towards a normal stream.
Yeah.
But there, that's in any time when things are happening like this, the rule of the day is volatility, right? And so there's going to be a lot of that up and down, up and down, up and down until what we both believe going to 2024 will be a very aggressive down.
Well, and bond yields have climbed quite a bit for reasons that they think, they've repriced in, the market's repriced in the fact that rates are going to stay higher, might move up a little bit more here. And also the fact that, bonds are getting dumped because a lot of these investors are thinking rates are going to go higher. And that means if they dump bonds now before they drop in price, as yields go higher, prices on bonds drop. And there's also a lot of liquidity in bonds in the market. So it's really complicated, but it's just something that we feel that next year at this time, I feel rates are going to be down some. Don't know when, I don't know how much, but something's going to happen. We talked about this for a year. People are probably frustrated going, oh yeah, you guys talk about the same thing over and over again, but it's like, this can't sustain itself.
But the message is, Mike, that it's happening. We're seeing it happen in China. We're seeing what's happened with the banks in the U.S. And you talk with Charles Schwab, a heavy hitter in the U.S. We're seeing it's happened. So it's happening. We just, the timing of everything else we don't know. But the things behind the scene that we thought were going to happen and they're starting to happen. It's maybe just not so apparent in Canada right now.
Not yet. And it's a world problem. It'll affect everybody. So in different ways. So if you have any questions, we're happy to discuss things with you. If you want to talk rates, if you want to talk product, remember the lowest rate's not the best deal in the end. It's all about what's right for your future plans, for your financial plan. Give Jay a call in Alberta. He's happy to discuss anything with you. I'm the same. We're not pushy. We're just trying to give you our opinion. If where you're at makes the most sense, we'll tell you. So we're happy to chat with you anytime. We'll keep you updated on everything. Congrats on your new baby boy,
Thanks,
Jay.
buddy.
Can't wait to see him grow up with the rest of yours. So next week we'll have another update, and we look forward to giving you more information then.
Yep. Have a great one, guys. Bye.
See ya.